Hi, let's start with Module 1, Fundamentals of Electricity Markets. Before we get into the various blocks and activities for this module, my aim is to give you an introduction. This introduction is to tell you about the learning objective for this module and what you're expected to get out of it. Also, most importantly, my aim with this introduction is to give you a high-level picture of these fundamentals of electricity market, somehow to motivate what we're going to have to go through afterwards through the various blocks. A fundamental aspect of electricity markets is that we have a power system involved. Power systems are an amazing piece of engineering that allows to connect production means for electricity and consumption means for electricity, which encompass a lot of us, right? Here is a simplified view of the Danish power system, extremely simplified. This comes from the webpage of Energinet, our transmission system operator, and the aim of this webpage is to reach the broad audience, so anyone can go on this webpage and try to see what's the situation right now with the power system. When we talk about the situation right now, what does that involve? That involves obviously a level of electricity consumption, which at that time was of 4.8 gigawatt hours. What does that involve also is how we meet these consumptions. And this may be with local production means, central power stations, local combined heat and power plants, so CHP, wind turbines, and solar cells. It may also involve import-exports, because if you have a surplus of power, you may want to push it to your neighbor. If you need power, you may want to take it from your neighbor. Here, at that time, we can see that there is quite a lot of import. All right? This situation is not fixed, obviously. From 1 hour to the next and from one day to the next, the situation may vary quite a lot. Consumption, overall consumption, may vary quite a lot, but also the production means that are used. Here, this is also from the same website. You can look at how the evolution has happened over a day, for instance, it could be some other period, in terms of the overall consumption for Denmark, but also in terms of how we met that consumption. This pale green color is for wind energy, so you can see there was a lot of wind energy in the generation mix that day, but still it varies quite a lot from the beginning to the end of the day. There's also solar power, which is quite small here, but still you can see there was no solar energy produced at night, obviously, and there was quite a bit of solar energy produced during the day. We can also see the role here of the central power stations and of the local CHP plants that give their fair share of contribution to the generation mix. The reason why I'm showing you this snapshot and I'm showing you this evolution is that electricity market have to accommodate the situation with varying consumption, different type of generation means, also import-export, how are we connected with the neighbors, what are going to be the rules for connection, and that brings a lot of important questions for market design and market operation. When preparing this course, I remember this article I found in Ingenieuren, a specialist magazine, a few years ago. This is an article from January 2015, and it talks, or it's inspired by what happened over the night of the 2nd of January of that year, 2015. For those who can read Danish, I would invite you to read this article, and for the others, I can just summarize and give you a few key points about the article. So this was a quite windy night, maybe with not such a high consumption, which makes that the prices went negative, all right? And also we're exporting quite a lot of energy to Norway at the same time. Negative prices is something that can bother engineers because we say it doesn't make sense. How do you produce something but then you don't receive money for it? But for an economist looking at the law of supply and demand, maybe it's okay. If supply is too much, that's normal that the prices goes negative. Still, negative prices will have consequences on investment and on the well-being, if you want, of the market participants. What's happening over that night is that since there are negative prices, maybe some people don't want to produce, or maybe there's too much wind power and we need to curtail. So there has been curtailment of 1.2 gigawatts of wind during that time. But at the same time, we had to produce 1.7 gigawatts from, you could say, dirty power plants or power plants that use natural gas, right? but these conventional power plants that normally we would like to push out of the generation mix when we have wind, all right? What does it tell us? It tells us, first of all, that maybe we need technological advances, we need storage in the picture, but to have storage in the picture, also maybe we need to reward flexibility, or we need to send the right investment signals for investment in this new technology. And how does that happen? Through the electricity market. So this is why we need to understand what's going on with the markets, where we're coming from with the design of this market, and where we would like to go with the design of these markets. Through this module, the learning objectives are for you to be able to have an overview of the historical development of the electricity market. And as I just said, I would like you also to understand where we are and where we would like to go with this electricity market. I would like you to be able to describe the various players and the types of market organization. I would like you to be able to describe the actual markets and their purpose. And finally, I would like you to be able to discuss the new challenges with renewable energy in electricity markets. How are we going to do that? There's going to be 4 blocks in this module 1. And for each block, we're going to have a video lecture and some self-assessment quiz. Obviously, some exercises and some project work will follow, but for the base learning of the module, we will rely on these video lectures and these quiz and exercises. The 4 blocks are an historical perspective first, a focus on actors, roles, and market organization second. Third, we'll go through the various markets and their purpose. Finally, we will discuss the current challenges with renewables in electricity markets. So good luck with module 1.